I know we're
Yeah.
recording this session, everyone, and I really appreciate you all coming on and joining in with us and really having a great conversation about the state of our races and really understanding the leadership and culture practices with Ruthless Florida and provide an election update on the races of the candidates in Miami-Dade County to encourage you all to understand what's going on. So I am Janine San Luis. I have the pleasure of being one of the co-chairs for our subgroup here in Miami, Florida, alongside my co-chair Bibi Valoria. We've had the pleasure of leading this group for the last couple months through this cycle, and we're really looking forward to having this conversation alongside our leadership with Ruthless Florida. And so before we get started, I wanted to ensure that, if you do have any questions, there is the chat option. Please feel free to include your questions in the chat. However, we will also open it up for a question and answer session. We're looking forward to about a 30 to 35-minute discussion, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers. So before we get started, Barbara, I wanted to just kind of go through with you and just ask you if you can please highlight for us what highlights of the field, generally what's at stake during this time, what's getting you excited with less than 34 days to the election, what's happening, and if there's an update that you can provide to us all regarding the races down here in Miami-Dade County alongside coupled with the races statewide.
Yeah, thank you, Yan. And I am very grateful for the opportunity to be here and really want to celebrate, this 10th year of Ruthless work. I'm an interim CEO, so I've just joined recently and have been blown away by the amount of work by a small amount of people in the office and the number of volunteers around the state, especially the Miami SWAT, who are really helping move these candidates forward. We're really focused on building a bench of qualified candidates, Democratic candidates in swing districts around the state, especially Miami-Dade, where we know there's so many crucial seats at stake and at opportunities that we can take over. Just want to do a little retro from 2019 to 2020. We've really passed the historic number of a milestone for Ruthless as an organization. We endorsed 107 women. We just finished our endorsement process last week, 51 of which are women of color and 7 are LGBTQ candidates. And in the August primary, we also made a lot of headway. We had 34 of our 38 candidates actually win that primary or being elected outright through our efforts. So we recognize that, clearly there's a need for women candidates. The voters are appreciating them. The candidates are stepping up and leading. And it's important for recognizing this growth for the organization as well as the women candidates in the state. Now, you asked me about heading into November 3rd, and there's still a lot of work to be done. As I said, we just got finished with our endorsement process this past week. But, Miami-Dade candidates are really at the forefront of the work that we're doing because there's such important work there. The biggest race, of course, in Miami for a lot of folks is the opportunity to elect the first female mayor in Miami-Dade with Daniela Levine Cava. And we've been with her from the very beginning. We're really excited about the opportunity to see her as a mayor of one of the major cities in the United States of America. It's really thrilling to work with her. And then there's 3 crucial House seats that we're looking at. Having Representative Cindy Polo be reelected in House District 103. And then we have a couple of flip seats that have been very exciting because the candidates have come kind of out of nowhere to take over in their primaries and move forward. And that's Francesca Sesti Brown in House District 105 and Maureen Porras in House District 105. They are both magnificent candidates who are in a position to unseat these long standing Republican held districts. And so they're really amazing candidates, and we're excited about them. And then, of course, you have your county commission races with a lot of familiar names. And we have Commissioner Eileen Higgins and Cindy Lerner and Gypsy Metellus. I'm sorry if I mispronounced her name. My name is one of those that everybody gets tangled up in as well. And then school board too, which is so important because that's where, our children get their educational information, and the policies that are being driven by school boards reflect the whole progressive or conservative overview of a community. And so we've had a great success with our young candidates, Mara Zapata, Luisa Santos, and Lucia Baez-Geller. And so we're proud of them, proud of the work that they're doing, but really proud of the Miami SWAT for the encouragement and support they give to them because, we're, like I said, a small staff of 4. We can't be everywhere. And the Miami SWAT has really proven, to be the hub to support those candidates in their day-to-day work. And so looking at them as a campaign liaison and holding virtual events for them, days of action, mobilizing volunteers, again, all the things that we've had to do this year because of COVID online with the Zoom. And so they've taken the place of a lot of in-person work, and we're really grateful for their time and dedication as we move forward. We've also built a large scale of voter participation in our programs, and I know Kate's going to be talking about that. Kate McCoy-Coyne is our consultant who works with us and helps us deal with how we can get these women elected, and she'll be talking a little bit more about the specific program. But, Ruthless really has provided already the base for the training, the education, particularly editorial board structure and education, and we've gotten a lot of endorsements this past campaign from smaller newspapers as well as, the larger publications in Miami and Orlando and in Tampa Bay. So that's kind of where we're at and what we're looking forward to as we move forward. Even though it's a short amount of time, we still have a lot of work to do and funds to raise in order to make sure that we get to our goals.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Barbara, in that discussion and just in the highlighting of those. I'd love to just turn it over to Kate for a minute to really talk a little bit through what has yielded from our past election cycle call center program and any other unique voter strengths that we have as an organization as it relates to the campaigns.
Thanks. I'm happy to do that. You should know that I'm still in heavy allergy season, and so I look like crap, and I'm going to sneeze through this whole thing probably. One moment about something that Barbara mentioned in terms of editorial board meetings and training. We did an online training open to lots and lots of candidates, and I did many individual one-on-one trainings with our candidates. And I'm happy to say that of the 92 candidates, 32.6% received the endorsement of their local paper. Some of them big papers like the Miami Herald or the Orlando Sentinel or the Tampa Tribune, and others sort of smaller further down the ballot papers. But this is really helpful for candidates. Most of these candidates have never had the experience of speaking to an ed board before. Many of them have never debated before. And so providing that level of training to them is something that they wouldn't get otherwise, and that is really beneficial. A newspaper endorsement can be worth a couple points in these really tight races. So you've asked me to talk about our call center in the past, and in the last 2 cycles, Ruth's List has built a call center that has called, I think last year we called a little bit over 1 million people, if I'm remembering correctly. It was pre-COVID, so we actually hired the staff and we had a central call center. And the thing about Ruthless calls is that no one else does it the way we do. We've adapted those calls for COVID so that we're doing 4 passes through Universe, and we're adding to it as we raise the money every day. Barbara and I are still spending lots of time, mostly Barbara, raising money to fund this program, which fully funded would cost about $349,000. Well, the program will do 4 passes of calls through Universe. The first set of calls happened last night and the night before. And so we started calling, in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 primary source candidates. But if you are, for example, Francesca Sesti Brown in Miami-Dade, some of you will get a phone call that is, if you live in Francesca's district, but we'll also add Daniela Levine Cava. Some of you will get Francesca Sesti Brown, Daniela Levine Cava, and Luisa Santos, if that is your school board district. Some of you will get Francesca Sesti Brown, Daniela Cava, and Mara Zapata. So all of that, we're also doing Cindy Lerner. So the nested candidates are included. Let me give you an example of what this first call sounds like. Hi, this is Barbara. I'm calling from Ruthless. Barbara recorded all of these calls on Sunday night. It probably took 3 or 4 hours, and it's a lot of work. Putting this whole program together is a lot of work, but no one else does it like we do. And it can be the difference in a tight race between winning and losing. So this is Barbara. I'm calling from Ruthless, Florida. I'm calling to let you, in times of COVID, it's really important that we vote. And just aside, we know that when we say COVID in the first 30 seconds of a call, people stay on the phone and listen, they don't hang up. So hi, this is Barbara. I'm calling from Ruthless, Florida. Times are really tough in COVID, and that makes it more important that we vote now, more important than ever. I'm going to draw your attention to Francesca Sesti Brown, running in House 29, wrong number, House. If you want to hear more about Francesca Sesti Brown, press 1. If you've already returned your ballot, press 2. If you have a plan to vote, press 3. If you'd like to hear more about Ruthless, press 4. If you'd like someone to call you back to talk about voting, press 5. And so we have all the metrics of who pressed which numbers and how many people have returned their ballot, how many people wanted more information. In the last 24 hours, we've talked to 310 extra voters who would not have been spoken to. You can hit a number to have someone call you back, and a member of our staff, either me or Sierra, or at some point, all of us will be doing this. We'll call you back and say, I called this woman yesterday who was 80 some odd years old, and she wanted to know where to bring her ballot because she's afraid that it's not going to be counted. And so I walked her through sort of, where is your district, went online, figured out where she should bring her ballot, and walked her through how to vote. Casting a mail ballot has gotten a lot more complicated. You have to fill it out with the right pen. You have to sign it in the right place. You have to seal the envelope just so. And if you miss any of those steps, the ballot is thrown out. And so we're walking people through how to cast a ballot by mail. We did this in the primary. We had tremendous success. And we are planning on making 3.8 million phone calls to almost every endorsed candidate and the nested candidates down the ballot, assuming that we raise the money. So let me give you just an example. In Linda Gonzalez's district, the size of her universe was 14,043 people. We delivered yesterday to landlines 7,931 calls. We delivered 22,275 texts. And you can hit the text, and it's as interactive as the phone call. The next 2 sets of phone calls will be live people. So someone will call and say, hi, this is Kate. I'm calling from Ruthless, and I'm calling because we can't knock on your door, which is what we would prefer to do. Have you already voted? If you have, great. If you haven't, do you have a plan to vote? Well, I don't know how to vote. I don't know where to turn my ballot. I'm not registered. I'm not sure. We walk you through the process, right? Let us talk to you about the candidates in your area. And last cycle, we were amazed at how many callers, how many voters wanted us to go through their ballot. Oh, wait, I have my ballot at the kitchen table. Great, I have a copy of your ballot. Let's go through it one by one. And we say in the messages, you've got to go all the way down the ballot. So every candidate blurb says, Francesca Sesti Brown is, a newcomer to politics and running against a blah, 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 blah. We give you some information about her and about her opponent. And then the last thing we say is, so go all the way down your ballot until you find Francesca Sesti Brown. It's a very unique method of voter mobilization, and we know that it works. And we also know that it's not duplicated by any of our allies or partners across the state. So I'll be quiet and turn it back to you.
Kate, that was so exciting to hear all the tactics that we're using to mobilize our voters and mobilize the constituents. I love the fact that it's 3.8 million calls. Quick question as a follow-up, do you know what the percentage to go you are right now? That might be just a hot seat question, but it was my curiosity.
I mean, we just started the day before yesterday.
Okay.
Today, Wednesday, we started, today or yesterday, I guess. I don't know. We've worked on it all weekend, so I'm confused. But I think the robos and the texts, we have to do the texts in batches so they don't get clogged up.
Sure.
And kicked back. But we started yesterday. It's going to take us until 4 days before Election Day to finish this program. Okay. We'll do one pass through the whole universe, and then we'll do 2 more passes. Every night we eliminate people who have already returned their ballot or people who have texted us and said, please stop texting me. Yesterday, 99 people listened to the description of Linda Gonzalez. Like, to hear more about Linda Gonzalez, press 3. 99 people did that. And we were also shocked by the data this morning that indicated that more than 50% of the people listened to 2 candidate descriptions. So people are really wanting to be informed and get information about these candidates. We'll do 2 more passes with live callers, and then we'll chase every single outstanding ballot with a robo call and a text 3 or 4 days before the election. Again, assuming that we have the money we need to do that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Kate, for sharing that strategy and for fighting the good fight and helping us. Barbara, yes, you wanted to share a couple things.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I talked to some of the team this morning who are actually doing the callbacks and the text backs, and there's a considerable number of people that have already put their ballot in, much higher than we anticipated, which is really good news for us. And there have been some really cute stories about, people connecting with other people that they haven't talked to for a long time. I think it really matches us with the voters in a very different way. They want to know more about Ruth's List and who we are and how we got involved. And so I'm really proud of the interactive piece because it's much different than a robocall where, you just hear a message and you don't really get a chance to interact. And people are really very much into, texting back and forth. It's become, such a go-to since we can't be together. So it's a greatly effective program, I think cost effective when you think about, the amount that we have to raise to reach over 3 million people. It's pretty remarkable.
Wonderful. Thank you, Barbara. So I would love to take the opportunity at this time to open it up for some questions and answers from our audience members to get your pressing questions answered.
Thanks, Yanine. Appreciate you giving us the opportunity to engage with Barbara and Kate. Kate, I'd love to hear from you. In past years, when we've implemented this call program, it was very focused on ensuring that, especially in presidential election time frame, we wouldn't have a drop off where people just vote at the top of the ticket and forget and or ignore the bottom. We'd love to hear how in the past we've been able to neutralize for that and what our goal is for this cycle, given how explosive the top of the ticket is.
That's, completely spot on, Gloria. The biggest problem for down ballot candidates is, in fact, folks that go in and vote for president or get their ballot, cast their vote for president, and then leave the rest of the ballot blank. And so everybody we talk to, every time we talk to anyone, we say, go all the way down that ballot. Don't stop at the top, go all the way down. And so those two, don't stop at the top, go all the way down, mantras are really a big part of what we're doing, and I hope of what the folks knocking on the doors are doing. Drop off can be 22% from the top of the ballot to the bottom. It can be much lower than that if you're really aggressive at pursuing the elimination of ballot drop off. It's anybody's guess in this cycle, and that's because so far we've seen turnout in greater numbers than we've ever seen before. Because I've always focused at the bottom of the ballot or down ballot, I'm always worried that people they're motivated to dump Donald Trump, I hope, and go vote, but we've got to get them to go all the way down.
Thank you, Kate. Opening up the floor again for some questions from our audience members.
Hi, yeah, thanks. This has been, great. Lots of great information. I did have a question about where we are in terms of generally in the state in the overall number of flips. What's projected? Where are we? Remind me again where we are in the House, how many seats we have. I'm speaking mostly of the House. How many are projected to be flipped this year, where our possibilities are, and where that leaves us?
I do not have it memorized off the top of my head, but I can go through my little Rolodex, which is in my head. So the ones that we believe will flip or have the capacity to flip are, we hope, Sigmund on the Senate side, and I can talk all day long about Patricia Sigmund. Kaiser-Enneking is well positioned to flip, taking Chuck Clements' seat. Francesca Sesti Brown is sitting in a blue district that Barack Obama won, that Hillary Clinton won. I don't know how the Republican won there. It's a 52% DPI. We should take that seat back. Linda Thompson Gonzalez is in a red seat that could flip blue. I think it's a heavier lift than the ones that I've already previously mentioned, but it's possible. And the thing about how many flips and what we think is possible, the reality is that anybody tells you at this point that they know they're lying. No one knows. All our candidates are underfunded. They're all being outspent. Some of them are being outspent more than 2 to 1. Republicans have been door knocking in some districts the entire COVID period. Most of our candidates have not. And so we're at some, we've got some real liabilities here. What we need is for our women to raise as much money as they can in the next 30 days. And to get caught up, if you will, in this, tsunami of voters. So Dolores Guzman could flip. Again, Dolores is underfunded, but everybody in that district knows Dolores Guzman. I mean, she's served on the West Volusia County Commission Hospital Board. She has won several elections there. Like, everybody knows her. And so even though she's underfunded, we think she's got a great shot. Tracy Kagan is on a trajectory this cycle to win this seat. Scott Plakin is serving his 3rd term. He has voted against education every chance he's gotten. I don't need to tell you how bad he is, but I could, and I could go on for a long time. She has raised a great amount of money. She has a full mail program. She's doing fantastic. I think she's going to win. Pasha Baker has a shot. I mean, again, grossly underfunded, late start, but sort of moving in the right direction. It could happen. Cesti Brown, I've already talked about. Julie Jenkins, over, on the other coast, has done a remarkable job and run a great campaign. That's a heavy lift, right? That's a red district. That is a redder district than Margaret Good's district was in the special, but she's ahead. She's up a couple points. She's within the margin of error. She could pull it off. And then lastly, Jessica Harrington, also on the other coast, a very heavy lift. I think Jessica Harrington is going to be the poster child for running not once, not twice, but 3 times in that sort of district, because it's trending, but it's not happening soon enough. So, on the day after election, or given that, we're in Florida, it could be 2 weeks after the election. I expect to have flipped maybe 1 Senate seat with a pro-choice Democratic woman, and maybe as many as, I would say, 5, maybe 4 House seats.
Great, thanks.
Wonderful. So thank you. We have probably time for a couple more, just two more questions for anybody who has any additional questions.
I was just going to add. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I've already spoken.
Oh, well, you're very kind. Age before beauty, I guess. No, I was just going to say I distributed the NASW endorsement and contribution checks, and I met with Maureen Horace Johnson on Monday, and she feels very good about her race, which is good. We're going to push her through
As do
NASW
we.
also. So.
She is a tremendous candidate, and the House, we have been with Maureen since the beginning. I know you've done a tremendous amount of work down there for her. She did not get the Obama endorsement, which I complained about to the Obama people and to the House Victory people, like, voraciously. I was so mad. She's in a great spot, and that would be a really sweet, sweet victory. And she could pull that off.
Gloria?
One last question. Kate, you and I know that our work is not done on November 4th. So I'd love for you to just give us the highlights of what 2021, 2022 efforts to build the bench are going to potentially prioritize.
So the work is actually never done. But anytime anybody asks me about that, my initial reaction is, 20 years ago, I built the down ballot program at Emily's List. It didn't exist before. I literally built it with Ann Liston, who is now a media consultant. And in that ensuing 20, I did that program for 12 years and then left. And it's still going now, and it's a very robust program and well-funded this cycle, and contributing to our candidates in Florida and to candidates around the country. But when I turn on C-SPAN and I look at the floor of the United States House, every Democratic pro-choice woman sitting in the Florida House now, with the exception of just a couple, I have trained, or Ann has, or have been trained by that program. So we know it works. These women move up the ladder. And so what excites me about 21 and 22 is, again, that Ruth's List is the only organization that has the knowledge, the intellectual information about where our openings are and where we're best set to maneuver. Kayla did recruitment and Laura did recruitment in nested, targeted places. The reason we have endorsed as many people as we have is because we've done a ton of school board races and county commission races and city clerk races and tax collector races. And all of those folks are ideal. You know, we recruit them with the idea that we're going to move them up the ladder. And so 2022 is going to be a huge year for us. We should be able to take for sure. I don't think chance of doing it this year. But 2022 should be the year we do it. And, you know, depending on how much we get through the House this cycle, we could make some real inroads there as well. So I'm super excited about, you know, the future is really exciting and holds a lot of opportunity for us. It's changing, and a lot of the districts are changing. You know, they're turning purple, which is great.
Thank you, Kate. Your energy is infectious in your passion of all the races.
Energy self.
No, this is great. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for that information. Barbara, Kate, thank you for coming together this afternoon and just sharing us the state of the races that we have going forward. Before we close out the session, I'd love to turn it over to Gloria for some closing remarks.
Thanks everybody for joining us. As you can hear, Ruthless Florida and Ruthless Miami have combined efforts over the past 10 years to really build out this program for success, not just in Miami-Dade, but statewide. And so to that end, we are actively soliciting the support of all of our supporters. If you have given to us in the past, thank you so much. You have gotten us here, and the goalpost is right there in our sites. Please consider a stretch contribution today. We will send out a follow-up email with the link. For those of you that may be listening and you haven't yet invested in the program that you've heard about here, I ask you to really consider that. And to top that off, I'm gonna put a little seed there. I'm gonna invest myself $5,000 in this program that's been described today. I hope that others may join me in matching my contribution or any level that is meaningful to, because we can absolutely bring Our Lady across the finish line November 3rd. We just need the resources to give them that last push. So thank you, everybody.
Wonderful. That was incredible and very generous of you, Gloria. We're excited to do that. So this concludes our program for this afternoon. I've gone ahead and placed that donation link in the chat. However, please know that we will be able to follow up with you all right after this with the recording for you. And if you feel compelled to do so, to send this out to some trusted friends who believe in women and want to see change, please do so as well. So with that, I've had the honor of just moderating this discussion, and we will see you very soon. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.